2021 had some really good designer fragrances. Now I went and bought a few of them. I have 10 in front of me that we're gonna go over. Maybe there's one or two in there that you wanna go out and try. So here are 10 fragrances from the designer realm from 2021. Hey everyone, I'm Peter from Centrio. If you're new to this channel, I want to give you a warm welcome. On this channel, I talk about fragrances, designer, niche, perfumers, so on and so forth. So if you're into fragrances or you just want to smell nice, consider supporting the channel and help out the algorithm. I want to thank you in advance, and now let's dive right into our 10 fragrances that I bought personally in 2021 from the designers. Let's go. First one that we're going to look at is one by Carolina Herrera. Now the first Bad Boy came out in 2019. And it looked a lot like this 2021 release. It had, pepper in it. Let's see, white pepper, black pepper. There was some bergamot, some sage, cedar. There was also some tonka bean, some cacao, and some amberwood in the original one. I did not buy the 2019 one because I didn't really like it and I didn't want to spend the money on it. And I always thought that if it was just a little bit more intense and a little bit more bad tasting, as in Bad Boy or smelling, then it would be a lot more fun for me. And so in 2021, they did come out with a Le Parfum. And in this one, you're going to have the note of cannabis at the very top. And it's also going to have some grapefruit. Now, throughout the life of this fragrance, the cannabis kind of goes away after a while, but it does lend it a little bit of a dirtiness. And the grapefruit is very prominent at the very beginning. Also, the black pepper and the geranium are going to deepen the fragrance just a little bit. Does it have the usual sort of peppery sense that you get from something with pepper in it? Not really. This one stays kind of fresh to me, and there's some leather in the base and also some vetiver. However, to me, it doesn't smell like a leather fragrance at all. Now, I do detect the vetiver in there a little bit, but mostly it's going to be sort of a grapefruity green fragrance with a little bit of vetiver in the base. And it has a little bit of a sweetness to it, probably from the geranium. This one is a lot better. It's a lot more intense than the original one from 2019. It's not one of my favorite fragrances, but it definitely is a great improvement to the 2019. And as far as the longevity and, the projection is concerned on this one, you're not going to have too much. I mean, the longevity, it's okay. You're going to get a good 5-6 hours out of it, but it doesn't project too much at all. It's more of a summer fragrance. I wouldn't wear it when it's cool outside. The next one is going to be a really interesting one from Mont Blanc. And I know if I say Mont Blanc nowadays, most people will think of the Explorer. That one really came out quite a while ago, and it's sort of an Aventus, smell-alike, really good performance, really great smell. But that's not the one that came out in 2021. What came out in 2021 was one in that kind of bottle, but it's light blue. Now, I thought it was going to be a little bit of a lighter version, maybe along the lines of the Aventus cologne, but it isn't at all. Wouldn't that be cool? That would actually be nice, because I do love the Aventus cologne. But this one right here, got a nice spray on it. It's a cool looking bottle, really. The perfumers behind this one are going to be Antoine Maison-Dieu, you have Jody Fernandez, and you have Olivier Perchou behind this fragrance. Now, here it's a very unusual scent. It's not something that you have smelled before. Actually, Hermes H24 that's coming up in a little while also has a unique scent profile, and I'm not sure whether the future is going towards something like this. Here you're going to have some bergamot, you have some pink pepper, and you have a little bit of an exotic fruit in here. Now, the next one that I have is also going to have some fruits in there, or at least the predecessor to it had some fruits in here. And this one you're also going to have some C notes, you're going to have some ambergris. There's some woody notes in the base, but it's not very deep. There's also some patchouli and some leather. However, it doesn't smell leathery or a deep patchouli or even the woody notes. I mean, it's kind of faint. Mostly what I get is sort of an aquatic sea freshness. And definitely the pink pepper and the exotic fruits are going to be the main players in this fragrance. As far as the projection is concerned and the longevity of Mont Blanc Ultra Blue, the projection is not that great. It's going to be on the more closer inside. And the longevity, same thing. It's not going to last too long. This is more of a summer scent, nothing for the cooler weather. And it's a really unique scent profile if you like a little bit of a bergamot, fruity scent profile. It's unusual and it's very different from what we're used to with the sweet scents. If you have this one, let me know if you like it. For me, it takes a little bit getting used to. The next one that I have is one by Azzaro, and it's called Most Wanted. It's the black one right here. Let's give this one a spray. Now, the reason this one is right behind the Mont Blanc, because the Mont Blanc has a fruity note in it, and the Azzaro Most Wanted does not have fruits in it, even though the 2018 Wanted by Night does. Now this one is still in the Most Wanted. You can tell it's definitely a Most Wanted, if that makes any sense, or an Azzaro Wanted by Night. It's definitely along those lines. This one's got a great spray on it, and you really don't need a lot of this one at all, just like the Wanted by Night. But what I find with the 2021 is that it jumps into the goodness of what this one had to offer much quicker. It leaves the fruitiness behind much sooner, and it dives into the cardamom and then the toffee and the amberwood much sooner. I'm not much of a fruit guy. Usually when there's fruits in something, it kind of turns me off a little bit. And what I like about the Azzaro Most Wanted is that that's kind of omitted. It's just very faint in the background, and this one dives into the deeper notes, you know, of the amberwood and the toffee and the cardamom much quicker. If you don't have either one of these, I mean, I guess it depends if you like fruitiness. If you like the fruitiness, then go with this one. But if you like the dry down more of this one after it sort of calms down a little bit, then the Most Wanted is going to be the one to go with. Both of these have exceptional performance and longevity. I mean, they last you all day, a couple sprays and you're good to go. Kind of a little bit much at first when you sprayed, when you first get into the car. But other than that, just let it settle down a little bit before you get in close quarters, and both of these will actually last a long time. The next one we're gonna go with something from Dolce & Gabbana. Dolce & Gabbana in 2021 had a really good year. They brought out some fragrances that are really amazing, and I can't wait to share them with you. And the first one is going to be a special edition. There's, I think, 3 of them in this special edition: Royal Night, Mysterious Night, and the newest one of 2021 is called Luminous Night. And it's the blue one. I went to Aspen and used this one in Aspen, hoping in the cold that it would be a good fit. But unfortunately, the Luminous Night didn't really hold up in the cold. Now, I can't wait to wear this one in the summer. The original DNA of the one is still in this one. The original, you know, had the grapefruit at the opening, the coriander, and you had a little bit of amber, tobacco, and cedar in the base. Now what this one is going to have is still has the amber in the base, but it's going to have sandalwood and some incense, which, you know, would give it a little bit of a depth, you would think. And then there are some dates in this one. And also there's still the basil at the top, the same thing that is in the original, the one. So the DNA of the original is here, but it is a little bit denser, a little bit deeper. However, in the cold air, it did not hold up. Now I think if you're going to be, you know, in the 40s, 50s, it'll do just fine. But anything minus, this one's not going to work out. But it is a beautiful scent if you like the sort of thick molasses-like smell of dates. It's really a beautiful scent, and it's a great addition. The next one that Dolce & Gabbana came out with is going to be, I'm going to do a lighter one first before we go into another deep one. It's a summer fragrance that is absolutely stunning. And that one's going to be Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, and it's the Forever blue one right here. Now this is a flanker of the other ones, the other light blues, but this one right here, the other one I liked it okay, and lots of people really love it, but this one is really my favorite so far. The grapefruit that's in this one, when you first spray it and when you wear it, never goes away. It's one of the most incredible grapefruit fragrances, if you like that scent, that you've ever smelled. It's so authentic. It has that real bite of grapefruit when you smell it. Absolutely gorgeous. It's very ozonic. It's got some violet in there as it dries down. There's also some vetiver, some white musk, and some patchouli as it deepens. But that grapefruit is the one that never really leaves, and it's a beautiful scent. When it's super hot outside, you can spray this and completely be refreshed. It's a gorgeous scent for like a beach party or being at the beach when you're really super hot. Great release for 2021, an absolute great flanker for the Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue line. And then, of course, another release, which is also an incredible release, and it is Stronger With You, and it is the Absolutely. Now, that whole Stronger With You line is absolutely incredible. You know, if you like the chestnut in a fragrance, beautiful for the winter time. Of course, they also came out with Freeze for the summer, which is a really interesting sort of combination. I didn't realize they could make that into a summer fragrance, but they did a really good job with the Freeze. And of course, one of my favorites from that line is the leather one. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, as I've been wearing these off and on, I thought it would be really nice to add a little bit of rum into it. And that's what they did in 2021. They came out with the Absolutely, or Stronger With You Absolutely. And it's this one, they still have the chestnut in there. They're going to have some elemi resin. They're going to have some bergamot, lavender, and there is also cedar, patchouli, and vanilla. And it has the chestnut in the bottom. But the greatest addition to this one, it's going to have some rum in it, which makes this one a really exquisite fragrance for when you're out walking in the snow. The chestnut will keep you warm, and so will the rum. It's a great release, and they did a really good job with the Stronger With You line. Now, of course, you ask, you know, the longevity and the protection on these are really great. Every single one of them. Doesn't matter which one you get. Now, which one should you get, you know, since there are like 4 or 5 of them now? And I would say my favorite ones out of this is probably going to be the last one, the Absolutely. And I really adore the Stronger With You leather. Those two are my favorites at this point out of that line. And now we're gonna move on to another release from 2021, and the newest iteration is also equally good and maybe even a little bit of an upgrade. All right, maybe an upgrade is a little bit too much, but it's probably equally as good. The first Spice Bomb came out in 2012, and it had the notes of pink pepper, some elemi, some bergamot, and grapefruit at the top. I really enjoy this fragrance. It's really beautiful. I still wear it today, you know, even though it's been out like, what is that, 10 years now? Kind of amazing. There's some cinnamon in this fragrance. You also have some paprika, which, by the way, the newest edition also has the paprika back in there, and there's also the pink pepper is back, and the saffron is also still there. Of course, there's Spice Bomb Extreme that came out in 2015, and in 2015, you know, you had vanilla, tobacco, you had some black pepper in that one. It's also a really good one. A lot of people like the Extreme a whole lot better than they do the original, but in 2021, they came out with the infrared. Now, infrared is really interesting because you're going to have the saffron in there from the original 2012. You're going to have some pepper in there, some pink pepper. The cinnamon is still in there in this one. And you have some tobacco and some benzoin in the base. The unique thing about this one is that they added some red berries into it. Only red berries, so it's not fruity. It's literally a berry scent. So you got all the lovely spices of the original Spice Bomb, but you have a little bit of berry in there. It's a fabulous scent to wear in the summer, in the fall, or maybe spring. It's a beautiful scent, much, much better than the green one, the Night Vision. This one is a definite hit, and it's, for me, it's worth it. I'm glad I picked it up. All of these, no matter which ones you buy, whether you buy the Extreme or the original or the infrared from 2021, they're all going to have really good protection and longevity. Smell great. Really good. Great fragrances to go out in if you're like a late nighter. So the next 4 are going to be very interesting, and we're going to start off with one by Hermes, and it is H24. Now, H24 from 2021 was a real big deviation from the predecessors, you know, like Terre de Hermes or something like that. Really a big difference. Now, this one is definitely a more modern scent, and it may grow on everybody as time goes on. Right now, the people are really divided in whether they like it or they don't like it. I think it is a fabulous scent if you want to smell unique. Is it sexy? Maybe not. Is it something to go out in? Definitely. Can you wear this one all year long? Absolutely. Does it last all day? Absolutely. The one thing that probably doesn't do, H24, is it doesn't have a big sort of transition. It kind of smells the way when you spray it all day long. There's not a lot of evolution to it. So what we have in this one, we're going to have some metallic notes. There's some clary sage, narcissus, and some palisandro rosewood. That's the only thing that I can really see the notes as far as the lineup is concerned. Of course, we always know there is much, much more in there than is actually listed. Christine Nagel is the perfumer behind this one, and I think it's a daring try at something new for Hermes. And what I get mostly out of this fragrance, the clary sage and the narcissus give it a little bit of a softness, and the metallic notes in the background make this fragrance feel like there's someone ironing in the back, and the hot steam is coming off of the ironing board combined with the metal surface of the actual iron. So it's a unique scent. It's warm, it's heartwarming. If you had a grandma in your past, you know, that was ironing in your back, or maybe your mom or something like that, this is kind of what this smells like. Now, is it, like I said, is it a sexy scent? Well, it's more of a comfortable, cozy scent if you grew up with that kind of stuff happening in the background. I think it's really amazingly daring for Hermes, and I really appreciate them going out and making a scent that's completely different. Good job, Hermes. I really enjoyed this fragrance. It makes you stand out from the crowd. The next one is a Prada fragrance, and it also has a little bit of controversy about it because it doesn't really fit in the lineup of what they've done before. And of course, the one I'm talking about is called Prada Luna Rossa, and it's Ocean. It's this beautiful blue bottle right here. Now, this one right here from the get-go doesn't smell anything like the other Luna Rossas. Not like the Sport, not like the original. It just doesn't. Okay, this one has some sage in it, and there's also some lavender in this one, some saffron, some musk, some Haitian vetiver, patchouli, and some caramel at the bottom. So does this one smell oceanic? Not really. It's not a light scent. You know what I mean? Like, it's not very airy and ozonic or anything like that. Not at all. This one smells more like a sweet, deep depth of the ocean, with everything being dark and blue. There's some bergamot, some pink pepper, and artemisia at the top. It's really going to be in the iris. If you love iris, it's a great new fragrance that has a little bit of iris in it. Some saffron and a little bit of suede for smoothness. It's a deep blue, sweet ocean, the depth of it. It's a great fragrance and a great release for Prada for 2021. Unfortunately, this scent, even though it comes out of the bottle pretty strong and somewhat powerful, but it doesn't have a lot of staying power. Now, do I like the scent? I really do. But as far as staying power, this one's going to be best worn when it's warmer outside, because it's not going to hold up in cooler weather. It just doesn't. You know, 4 or 5 hours is all you're going to get out of it, and the radiation or the, the projection of this one is going to be probably about elbow's length, a little bit more at the beginning, but it sits in pretty close early on. But it's a great new release from Prada, Ocean. Good one. The next two that I have are really absolute stunners, and I think that they did a great job bringing something back. Both of these bringing something back that we loved in the past. They revamped it a little bit and made both of them exquisite for 2021 and 2022. And all I can say is, if you like the original Yves Saint Laurent La Nuit de l'Homme, then the new BLEU Electrique is an absolute stunner. It is beautiful. It kind of reminds me of what these used to smell like when you first got them. Now, the original one, the original La Nuit de l'Homme, it had some caraway in the bottoms. Now, this new one, the BLEU Electrique from 2021, is not going to have the caraway in there. What it has instead, it has some geranium and an addition of ginger at the very top. So it gives it a little bit of a modern, a lighter twist at the very beginning. But as far as a scent profile, it is very, very close to the original La Nuit de l'Homme when it first came out. It's an absolute beautiful fragrance. I mean, I can see myself wearing this all year long. And how cool is it to have something that came out in 2009 with the original? Actually, this was my signature scent back in 2009. Really a beautiful scent. Loved going out in this one. And I'm very, very happy to have La Nuit de l'Homme BLEU Electrique come out in 2021 with a little bit of a ginger twist. You still have the cardamom at the top, you have the bergamot, you have the lavender in this one still, and you still have the cedar and the vetiver, just like in the original. The only thing that's going to be gone is the caraway, and you're going to have geranium instead. Beautiful scent, great one. If you find this one, pick it up if you're a lover of the original La Nuit de l'Homme. And the final one is an absolute stunner. And of course, I'm talking about DIOR Sauvage, the new elixir. Now, it comes in a 2-ounce bottle. It's a little bit smaller than the other ones. You know, the original Sauvages were a little bit bigger, obviously. And this one's going to be about $150, somewhere around there for just 2 ounces. Now, you're like, okay, you know what? That's like niche quality for me at that point, or niche prices. I'm not going to pay that much, perhaps, for something that's 2 ounces. But this one right here, the performance is absolutely stellar. You spray this on, it smells all day into the next day. Performs great in heat, performs great, be easy in the heat. It performs great in the cool weather, absolutely great. The dry down is absolutely superb. Now, does it smell like Sauvage? It does. You know, it still has a lot of the DNA from Sauvage in here, obviously, but it is kind of revamped a little bit. In this one, you're going to have some nutmeg, some cinnamon, some cardamom, some grapefruit at the top, some lavender in the middle, and they're in the base notes of this one. You're going to have some licorice, which is definitely there, and there's some sandalwood, amber, patchouli, and some Haitian vetiver. Now you're like, okay, what does it smell like? Do I need something else that's just a little bit deeper than like the Sauvage or the EDP like in this one? You know, the original Sauvage had bergamot pepper, some Szechuan pepper, had a lot of pepper in it, so it was quite peppery. And some pink pepper, and there was some patchouli, geranium. There's a lot of ambroxan in there. But in this one, I don't find that there's so much ambroxan. What I find mostly is the licorice and the spices at the very top, you know, the nutmeg, the cinnamon, and that's kind of the substitution for the pepper in here. The patchouli is definitely also in there. If you ask me, hey, what does this smell like? You know, what makes it an elixir? What makes it so much, you know, in my opinion, better than the other Sauvages? For me is that it has a little bit of the good old Drakkar Noir in it. It doesn't smell alike. This one hints towards this one a little bit without that 80s flair that this one had. This one has definitely a little bit of a dated scent to it. This one does not. A lot of people say it smells alike. No, it reminds you of, but this one is the expensive, elegant version of Drakkar Noir in some kind of way, because it does hint towards it, and it might be the licorice. I absolutely love wearing this one. Now, once again, this one, just like the H24, you know, they both are pretty linear. Now, this one does smell a little bit different as it dries down on your skin, but throughout the kind of time you're wearing both of these, it's going to be quite linear. They're not going to change too much, but the smell itself is absolutely phenomenal, and it carries and projects, I mean, really a good value for, like, you know, 2 sprays and you're good to go all day. Beautiful release. Of course, Francois Demachy is behind this one. Good job revamping the good old and giving us something that you can wear today and not smell like everybody else, that has great protection and longevity. So these were my 10 fragrances that I bought this year that I'm really excited about. I really enjoy wearing those. I'm glad I purchased them. I'm looking forward to the year 2022 to see what's coming up next. I hope you enjoyed it. If you got anything out of this at all, please do love, like, share, subscribe, all those wonderful things that kind of boost the algorithm. I do appreciate it. Until next time, I want you to take good care of yourself. Always smell nice, and I will talk to you soon. Until then, Centrail.